Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Newcastle United are still unbeaten in the Premier League. They're yet to concede a goal, but have we got away with one today? Quite possibly. We're here to score the players. I'm joined by, we've got a full house. We've got Harry, we've got Beth, we've got Andy, one of our fans. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you went a bit silent there for a minute.
Why? I don't know. Maybe it's a rival to One Football, just messing around background. Who knows? But this video is sponsored by One Football, and for every football news you need, download the One Football app. The link is in the description, and of course, we're scoring the players, so play along in the comments. Harry, I'll let you start with the man who's broken the internet, Nick Pope.
Oh, that was incredible, wasn't it? Nick Pope, what can you say? Fantastic display from him today. He's really putting himself with a good chance of being England number one. I think if he keeps on playing like that, I think it'd be hard to go lower than a 9. I don't know if it's quite a 10, but he was by far Newcastle's best player today. So I think I'll give him a 9 out of 10 because he hasn't made a sublime amount of saves, but he has made some very good saves. Cracking performance from him today. And you couldn't really ask for much more.
Man of the match?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah, because if he's not playing, then I think that Lallana header goes in. He should have been marked. I think he's made a stunning low save later on. Yeah, I think he really has earned. If it wasn't for Nick Pope, I love Martin Dubravka. I know Beth does. No disrespect to him, though. I don't think we draw if Dubravka's in goal today.
Interesting. Any opposing arguments for that, or are we all in agreement for a 9 out of 10 for Nick Pope?
I did have him as an 8, but maybe that's just because I do love Martin Dubravka.
He's saved 2 goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, I think his performance was outstanding, and he made some solid saves. None of them were like spectacular saves, and I think that's what made my score go a little bit lower. But some of the saves he did make were very good saves, like Harry said. And I do think he has a solid shout of being England goalkeeper off the back of today's performance. But in the first half, he was parrying the ball a little bit before he did get a good grip of it, and I think that's what made me go with an 8.
Well, either way, he's in for a lot of free stuff, and some people, some companies who have been giving away the world for a Nick Pope clean sheet, they've got it. So get on Twitter tonight, see what freebies you can win.
There's companies everywhere deactivating their Twitter accounts now because they've promised Newcastle fans the world and Nick Pope the world if he keeps a clean sheet this week. So
I just like the one when he slapped it round the player.
World Cup final, doesn't he?
Yeah, Toon Pauls has got the FIFA World Cup final. He's gotten free breakfast at every restaurant you could ever think of. I think he's getting a free mattress as well at one point. So
is he really?
Toon Pauls is living up his best life, isn't he? He's absolutely buzzing right now.
He was at Charlton's on Sunday, actually, Sam, next to me. You know Charlton's bar in Camas?
Yeah.
Nick Pope was actually there on Sunday. Just gone. One of my friends posted a selfie with him on Facebook, so he's exploring the local area. What
was he drinking?
No idea. I don't know what he was drinking. He just went there for a meal, as far as I'm aware.
That's a shame. I bet it was like a
holy water, obviously, with him being Nick Pope. I mean.
Of course. Let's go round clockwise, and Beth, you can have the skipper, Kieran Trippier.
Oh man, I was hoping I wasn't going to get Trippier first because his performance, he made some good challenges and he was putting in some crosses, but sometimes he was getting done down that side. He had me worried a couple of times. He was turned inside out a few times, and they were getting the crosses into the box and stuff. So I'm not really sure. I put him as like a 6/7 because I couldn't decide. Because obviously we kept the clean sheet and he had that goal line clearance, which was like pivotal in the point. But also he was getting turned inside out and a lot of the chances were coming from that side. So I went 6/7.
So were you going 6.5?
Yeah, we'll have to do a half, won't we? 6.5 I'm going for. But I don't know though, because then it seems harsh, doesn't it? Because
I mean, he has.
Considering how cool he was for the clearance, yes, yeah.
I think that goal line clearance bumps him up at least 1.
Yeah, just yeah. I'm with you on that one, mate.
Well, the comment section tend to agree with Beth, to be honest.
I agree. I thought she's right. He did get exposed today.
Yeah, if you think about it, like when you compare him to the rest of the defensive line as well, like he kind of looked our weakest, and that's not something we're used to with Kieran Trippier. But I think he did. You know, defensively, I do think he did. Especially when you consider that.
You know what you're going to get with Brighton, though. That's what they play. They play wide. They play quick tempo. Trippier led from the front. He's a leader of men. I wouldn't have given much more than a 6.5. I think 7 was perfectly adequate. But I wouldn't be nitpicking too much in a performance where we've kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just I think the forward, the midfield, and the attacking thirds were where we had more issues. Andy, you can have Fabian Schär, another one who made a goal line clearance today.
Yeah, I think the rest of the game, though, he's probably on par with Trippier, if I'm honest.
Oh, no.
I'll be honest, he came out with the ball really, really well. Attacking-wise, as a centre-half, he came out with the ball really, really well. But defensively, Dan Burn made a tackle in the 70-odd minute where he dived down at the feet. And if you're going to give Dan Burn something like a 9 or a 8 or something, I can't give Shaw. I'd give him a 7. I thought he was solid, but you can see the limitations in times defensively with Shaw for me, in the sense of short passing. He wants to go to Guimaraes all the time with a short pass to start the play, and when that option's not there, he goes long, and then sometimes we'll lose the ball. But defensively, I thought he was spot on. 7, like the lads are saying, 7.5. I don't disagree with that. I thought he made one mistake for a header, which created a chance. But
yeah, I mean, let's not forget, Brighton start the league well most seasons, and you know, we've kept another clean sheet. We still haven't conceded a goal all season, and Schär, for someone who can't play in a back four, is playing pretty well in a back four for the past
absolutely
6 to 9 months. So his partner today wasn't Dan Burn; it was the debutant Sven Botman, who I'm going to take. Wow. For me, you can't. He wasn't troubled by anything. He's just so laid back and casual, and a cut above the rest. I think it was a real solid debut where you can't really notice him for doing anything amazing, but for a centre back, that's kind of a good thing. I thought he was really calm, composed. Nothing got past him. It was a case of, like we say, it was just a lack of creativity in the final third. Brighton were coming all the time for most of that, especially in the second half, where we created absolutely nothing. Sven Botman was a contender for man of the match for me today, but wasn't quite as good as Nick Pope. So I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Any challenges on that? Any opposition to that? Am I being harsh? Am I being fair?
No. During our live watch along, I kept saying, like, Sven Botman, like, he was going under the radar because he was like that relaxed and that composed that you weren't fretting when it was him going in for a challenge, and you weren't noticing that he was the one like winning the ball, because he just was like that natural doing it, and he wasn't breaking a sweat, and he didn't look like he was. He didn't even look like he was trying, and he was winning the ball, and I just think he looked really good, and he did look a class above the rest, and it was just like natural to him. Like, and when you think about it as well, he's so young, and like that's what else I was saying. Like, he's so young, and he can only like learn from everything that's happening now. So he's only going to grow as a player, and I think he's a blessing for us.
He's the type of defender, isn't he? That way, if you're going to play a high line like Liverpool do, and you get left 2-on-1 sometimes, you still back him.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that in the Benfica friendly as well when he was playing with Jamal Lascelles. But yeah, I know you can't read too much into pre-season form, but from what we've seen from him in a Newcastle shirt so far, just looks so calm and assured, and just a real cut above, an exciting player.
I also noticed he does like to boss the players around as well, and for a young guy coming into a new team with players that have played alongside each other like before, he didn't care to tell them that they were doing wrong or where they should be, and he was really like he was being a leader as well at the back, and obviously the more leaders you've got on the pitch, the better. So I think it was a really good performance from Sven Botman.
Yeah, future captain, Beth, do you reckon?
Sorry?
Future captain, do you think?
I don't know. I think that depends on the other players around him, but you can't complain, can you, about having all these leaders on the pitch? And
I see what you're saying in him. I'm with you on that. I see him as a leader.
He's got all the attributes you need to be a world-class centre-back.
Absolutely.
His reading of the game is exceptional as well, which was one of the reasons why he looked so calm and assured, because he can read the game and he's 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, real exciting debut on what was a very dull match.
He's got to be have a good footballing brain, hasn't he? Because his pace is not actually that good. So I think he's always mentally 2 steps ahead of someone else, which works because obviously if he caught the decision later on, where someone was behind him, he wouldn't be able to catch them. But he naturally
you've just reworded my point.
No, but he just reads the game. I was just saying, he does just read the game so well. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Long may it continue. Dan Burn was exceptional against Nottingham Forest, but he was put out to left back today with Matty Targett having a dead leg. He's played there for Brighton before, Harry. How do you think he did at left back for playing there for Newcastle for the first time?
To be fair, on the whole, I thought he was excellent. Didn't really put a foot wrong, and obviously what you're going to get with Dan Burn. He's not the quickest, so he is going to have to drop off at times with Brighton's threat down that right-hand side. There were a couple of times where the likes of Solly March had a bit of space to cross, I think, to the likes of that Lallana header. But on the whole, you can't complain at all with Dan Burn. I think he was solid. Wasn't threatened by Lamptey when he came on with that injection of pace. He didn't really get past him. I think there was once maybe when Lamptey got past him, but other than that, nothing. And Dan Burn, left back, clean sheet away from home against his former club. You can't really ask for more. So again, I don't think he's better. He was quite as good as Nick Pope. So I think 8 out of 10 on par with Botman probably.
8 out of 10 for Dan Burn. I mean, when Lamptey came on with 20 odd minutes to go, you did think, oh my God, he's going to get absolutely. I was going to say burned for pace then, but I don't want to use a pun. I'm adamant I don't want to use a pun. But you did kind of think, oh, this could get a bit hairy. So, Beth, how do you think he dealt with that? Because there was only the one incident at first, but he seemed to manage him pretty well after that. Yeah,
well, with the first 10 minutes, I said, oh my God, Dan Burn looks knackered. He looked so tired. I was getting worried on the street. I was like, oh man, he looked so tired. And then suddenly he was just so composed, and he was winning the ball, and he was the centre-back Dan Burn that we've all been used to seeing. And when Lamptey did come on, I was saying, he's going to get turned inside out here. I did think that was going to come, and you didn't see a change. Dan Burn just looked even more composed somehow. He was in control, and I didn't ever see a point where Dan Burn, I thought, we're going to get done here, and Dan Burn's going to be to blame or anything. So I think it was a solid performance from him as well, because I was fretting when I seen Matt Targett had dropped out. I did think, how are we going to cope here? But yeah, I thought he had a solid performance. I give him
it's testament, isn't it, to him when you've got a player as tricky as Lamptey, when we've seen in the past against Newcastle how easy it is for him to break up before we had Dan Burn. And he reads the game well. As much as he's head the ball out, physical, he reads the game well.
He does. He absolutely does, and that's so important when you're not the paciest as well. Harry, you did make a point in the group chat whilst we were watching the game about Dan Burn's sort of attributes in the air, but when we're in an attacking sense, not so much his defensive work.
Yeah, and I said it on the watch along as well. I think every time we have a set piece, it's a lot of the time it is going to him, and his headers are never on target. I don't quite understand what the plan is there. Surely either he's doing something in training which he can't reproduce in a game, or simply his headers just aren't that accurate, which is fine when you're defending. It's absolutely fine. But it just, for me, means we shouldn't be targeting him on every set piece purely because of his height. If he can't head the ball on target, what's the point? Unless they've got a plan where he's going to head it to someone else and they're going to get a knockdown or a volley or a header.
That spectacular goal that Bruno scored against Southampton with the Dan Burn header.
True.
I think that's a fantastic point, I'll be honest, because he wins most of the first balls, doesn't he? But we're not winning the second balls, and comes back to what you're saying. His headers aren't accurate when we're attacking. You bang on, mate.
And I think we might see a bit of a change if Sven Botman plays more, or with Sven Botman challenging him or maybe displacing him in the team.
That could be the difference between good, solid Premier League player and world-class player.
Yeah.
So, it's one to keep an eye on going forward, but he still gets an 8 out of 10 today, Dan Burn, for a very, very solid performance and, of course, a clean sheet. Beth, you are next, and you've got a man who we were running out of superlatives for very early on in his Newcastle career, but I don't think it was his finest 90 minutes today. Bruno, what did you make of his performance?
So I think today was probably Bruno's poorest performance in a Newcastle shirt, and that's like no disrespect for him because he's a spectacular player. And today he didn't actually do anything like terrible. Like he didn't make a mistake where you thought, oh, what's he doing? But I think you've got to give credit to Brighton here. They weren't giving him the space. There was always someone on his back. Like he didn't have the time. Like when you watch Bruno play, the best things he does, he turns and he flicks the ball on, or he turns and he makes a unbelievable pass. They weren't letting him turn with the ball. There was just always someone there closing him down, and he couldn't play the way Bruno likes to play football. And I think that's credit to Brighton, but also as well, like he didn't try and change up the way he was playing. I give Bruno a 6 today. Hi, I'm not on about you.
Bruno. I think that's fair enough. I think the first half in particular, he lost the ball loads. Loads. Yeah.
Quite a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, people who have watched this channel for more than 5 minutes know full well how I feel about Bruno Guimaraes. But yeah, I think you're right.
After him.
Exactly.
And there weren't high percentage passes where he was trying to play someone through. Sometimes there weren't hard passes for a player of his ability. Some of them, there weren't like a Ivan Needle pass. One or two were. But some of them were mid-range passes where you would expect them to find his target.
No, it was, and whether or not that's communication in the team, because normally when we're in a tight spot, Bruno can still control it and is that calming influence and can still pick a pass or whatever, but that just wasn't happening today. So whether that's credit to Brighton or whether we were just off the boil, the Brazilians should be used to this heat anyway. It is well up outside, to be fair. But Bruno, gets a 6. Harry, anything to add?
Sorry, I'm just gonna add. I think 6, in my opinion, is a bit generous. I would have probably gone with a 5, and obviously he is fantastic. But I just think in that first half he was constantly getting caught out, and I think credit to Brighton for that. I think they were pressing really high and really well.
Yeah.
But just personally would have given him a 5.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's a fair point. but it's not your mark. So Bruno's got a 6.
Just pause 1 second. Have you seen Brighton's tweet today?
No.
Silly boy. They've just tweeted Nick Pope with the eye rolling emoji.
Well,
Ironic.
that goes to show who's man of the match today by an absolute country mile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Superb saves, but Bruno gets a 6. Andy, you can have Joe Willock.
Worst of the midfield for me. First half, he was. Every time he got the ball, I didn't know what his plan was, what his instructions were. He is one of them players where you don't see him in games and then all of a sudden he comes to life. But when you're playing against technical teams and organised teams like Brighton, you've got to be tidy on the ball. And I thought he was poor today. I don't know about anybody else, but I thought he was very poor. And I struggle to give him a 5, if I'm honest. I'll give him a generous 5 because I thought he was. The energy's one thing, but it's what he does with that energy that I struggle with. And I was saying to my friend watching the game, the more I watch him, I'm starting to think that he's going down the pecking order.
What?
Yeah.
Do you think that after last week's game?
Yeah, I do. It's his general play. In moments, yes. In moments, he's capable of things, but it's just my opinion. Hey, we've all got an opinion. I get it. Other people watch the game and see different things, but you give the ball away just as much as Bruno today.
I'm going to stop Beth before she starts, because whilst I'm on your team, Beth, and you know full well I am on your team, it is.
I'm a fan of him. Don't get us wrong.
It's the Brighton game today, not Nottingham Forest, where of course he was our man of the match last week, and rightly so. But I think Andy has one hell of a point there. I don't think he was very good today at all. I think maybe you could have made an argument that this is the sort of game where you need a Sean Longstaff in there away from home. But yeah, Willock it was complete chalk and cheese from last week's performance where he was very good. But today he was very, very bad.
At half time, I was saying I would have took Joe Willock off and brought on Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I thought Elliot Anderson brought something exciting, and I know that's a lot to put on his shoulders for a young player. Maybe not half time, like the 60th minute, but I thought he would have been like that exciting change in the middle when a lot of the play was in the middle, where he could have brought the energy that we were missing.
I think we'll talk about that when we discuss Eddie Howe at the end.
It seems as if Willock is more effective when the games are more stretched. When they're more technical and it's short passing against Brighton, where a team that's organised, he struggles. Yeah,
it's a fair point. But 5 out of 10 for Joe Willock. We'll discuss Elliot Anderson when we speak about Eddie Howe, because I think Beth's got a point there. Moving on, I'm going to take £40 million worth of pure Brazilian prime rib, and that is Joelinton, who at one point looked like he was about to start a fight with everyone in Brighton. And I, to be honest, I'd back Joelinton for the win. He was the pick of our midfield today, I thought. I don't think the midfield had their finest hours by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think Joelinton was the pick because from a defensive point of view, he was always pulled into the left-hand side to nullify the threat from there. Hence why we saw him have a little handbag to do with Solly March. And I think he was the best on the ball out of the three. So he's getting a 7 from me. I thought it was an all-round decent performance from Joelinton. It's just a shame going forward there wasn't really much going on. Wilson was
the amount of covering he does for ESM is ridiculous.
Well, that's the like I said to who did I say to last week? It might have been to you, Beth, but it might not have been. It might have been to Johnny. He's starting to remind me a little bit of Gary Speed in the way that he's good on the ball. He's strong, and the way that Gary Speed used to pull out to the left and clean up after Lauren Robert and help Olivier Bernard out. That to me is what Joelinton's doing, and he's doing it really, really, really well. So yeah, I think he was at the pick of our midfield.
what you said there, Sam, reminds me of what Ollie said to you about Gary Speed. Robert used to just get on with it, and he was fine.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That it's them same traits and that same same type of work that Joe's doing. And he's doing it really well. It was a battle in that midfield today, and we didn't really win the battle at times, which is sort of disappointing when.
Sorry, guys, my battery's going. 2 seconds.
As Andy's battery's going in 2 seconds. So yeah, it was disappointing from the midfield. So as he's gone.
His battery's gone.
Battery's gone. It's fine. He's ducking. He just doesn't want to rate ASM. So yeah, Joelinton gets a 7 because I've lost my train of thought now.
Before the game started, Joelinton would have his work cut out for him because it was going to be difficult in the middle, but also he had to protect Dan Burn behind him, who's not a natural left back, and then he had ASM in front of him. So he did have his work cut out for him, and I thought today he did put in a shift.
He did, and the fact that you know what you get in because Dan Burn's more defensive minded, so he's not going to be able to get up the pitch.
Yeah.
So Joelinton's got to do extra because he has to A, support Maxi, and B, not leave Dan Burn completely isolated.
Yeah.
And he's done that okay. I mean, the midfield wasn't brilliant. There was at times where we made Adam Lallana look like a right sprightly young chicken, which just should never happen in a million years. But it is what it is, and we got the point. Okay. Come on then, Harry. Let's have ASM.
Oh, well, let's be frank. It wasn't his best display, was it? Very sloppy on the ball in the first half, in particular. Kept giving it away. I can't really remember him threatening too much. A couple of crosses from the right-hand side. Really, really poor from him today. Didn't see anything at all, really. And it just went missing. I think I'd probably give him a 4, and that might be generous.
It might be. The diving, no thank you. Don't want any more of that. I love Maxi to bits, but no, none of that, please. The first half was frustrating in a sense as Brentford go 1-0 up against Man United. Man United are rubbish, aren't they? really rubbish. Yeah, and this is a good point from the Seattle Geordie. He should have come off earlier. Fraser wasn't on the bench today. Murphy, you know what you're going to get, which I was thinking, well, maybe this could have been an opportunity for Elliot Anderson. I don't know. But ASM did his usual stuff in the first half and looked okay up until the time was to pass it or cross it, which he did one good cross all game, or do something with it, and it just didn't happen at all. So, yeah, poor. Not his finest day. Just wasn't his day, was it? He doesn't seem to play well against Brighton.
Do you not think when ASM has a poor game, it emphasises how much we do need reinforcements on the opposite side? Because it's like if ASM isn't creating, we're not creating. And Callum Wilson today was absolutely starved of the ball. He wasn't getting the ball. No one even cared about really what ASM was doing because he wasn't really up to much. So then everyone was crowding around Wilson. So we going forwards, like when we did have the ball and we were attacking, there was no space. We couldn't create anything. It didn't look like we were going to score at all, to be honest, in the game. And I think that does come from if Maxi's having a poor game going forwards. Newcastle are generally, not genuinely, having a poor game going forwards.
Yeah. There is something in that because, look, we've had a couple of knocks today, so we had a couple of players missing, and what did we have to bring on off the bench? Not a great deal. So that's just a little reminder to the powers that be that in the next 2-3 weeks, we're still very much after a winger and a striker, aren't we? So yeah, ASM gets a 4, but could be a bit lucky there because I don't want to see him dive like that again. That was silly. Miggy, he ran a lot and he looked like if anything was going to happen, it was going to come from him, Beth.
Yeah, I like as an outfield player, attacking player, the first half especially, Miggy looked our biggest threat. Like, he was our most creative player. He was the most effective player going forwards. And he was that one, like, usually, like, Allan Saint-Maximin's on the ball, and we're all a bit like, ooh, something's going to happen. I didn't have that feeling today, but if Miggy had the ball, I thought, ooh, there might be a chance here. And he did look more confident as well. Like, he had a shot with his left foot on the edge of the box at one point. And I made the point, like, he wouldn't usually take that kind of shot. He'd just make a silly pass or he'd turn around and he'd go backwards. But he looks more confident. And in the first half, I did think he looked our brightest player by far. So I gave him a 7. But then when you look at his second half performance, he was barely like present. But I do think a lot of our attacking players in the second half, none of them got an opportunity at all. But that's because of the way Brighton played in the second half.
I think 7's fair. I say like he was our brightest spark, but that's a bad thing in some sense because his assist record is just terrible. But it's not for lacking of endeavour. So
yeah, sorry, can I just butt in? I just think when ASM's having such a poor game like today, Miggy on transitions was excellent. He was really good at bringing the ball forward, which is something ASM is usually our main outlet for. And I just think Miggy today, as Beth said, was our most enterprising kind of attacking player. As you said, his goal and assist record leaves a lot to be desired. And with Miggy, it's still just that hope that something actually clicks into gear. It's just frustrating, though, isn't it? It's dead frustrating.
Our wingers in general are just frustrating, aren't they? Because there's so much potential there, and on their day, they can produce moments of such magic, but it's just not quite consistent enough. So it's very, very important that by the Wolves game, we have a fresh face in there, I think. But I think Beth's right on the whole. It was, and you, Harry, I think on the whole it was a positive performance from Miggy. It's just that last little pass or something like that that's just maybe I've got such a sore throat. That's just maybe lets him down. So it's a 7. I think that's fair. 7 out of 10. Callum Wilson, I have sympathy for a couple of reasons. One, high foot my arse. Dunk's head was nowhere, or was it Webster's head? There was just nowhere near. It just wasn't a high foot. He was bright. He was sharp. He was looking for everything. He was lively. Just didn't get the service from ASM. Couldn't quite get the service from Miggy. Wilson in the second half tried to do it on his own, and then you just wanted a lung-busting run-in from midfield, and they weren't there. Wilson's performance as a whole was 7 out of 10, but he's got nothing to show for it. It wasn't for lack of trying. Wilson was superb today. He just had nothing around him to help him, which was such a shame. Maybe a change of formation after an hour or 65, 70 minutes might have helped. You could have had Wood and Wilson up top because the options off the bench were few. So
it's 2-0. Brentford, sorry.
Is it really?
Yeah, Brentford 2-0.
Man United are rubbish.
2-0.
Man United are really rubbish, and it's very funny. I think Rio Ferdinand should buy them a few players.
Just buy the club.
Should just have a whip round. And why aren't people saying thank you to the Glazers?
Yeah, exactly. And why are they all these star outs and things? They should be saying thank you for what we've got.
Thank you is what they should be saying. That's what we got told to say to Mike Ashley off Rio, wasn't it? I mean, the
Thank you for
Glazers have
spending the
invested a
club's
hell
money.
of a lot more than what Mike Ashley did. So, yeah, say thank you.
That second goal is the funniest goal I've ever seen for Man United to concede. Oh, it's diabolical.
Good. So, yeah, Wilson gets a 7, but he's got nothing to show from it because there was just no service. But he was very, very sharp. And he was starved, but he was. If you just felt we just need one chance, and he'd bury it because that's what he's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harry, you look like you wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say, just because you touched on it before, I said on the watch along as well. I think we should have brought Wood on for the last half an hour, 20 minutes. Give us something different, maybe go long because we were playing a lot of long balls anyway, and that would have helped Wilson's game a lot more, I think. But I'm sure we'll come on to that with Chris Wood as well.
To a point, because he wasn't on for that long, was he? But we'll stay with you, Harry. And when the substitutions did arrive, it was a double change, so you can have Sean Longstaff.
Well, endeavour as always with Sean Longstaff. You're going to get someone who works hard, being a homegrown lad. To be honest, I didn't see much of him on the ball. I don't know if that was just me missing that, but I didn't see much of him on the ball. I don't think he had many touches. Sound as ever, I'd just go 6 because I don't know how he impacted the game. He was only on, 20 minutes, 6 out of 10. I think he was just average, really, but he's always going to work hard for the team. Yeah,
we were defending a lot at that point as well, weren't we? So there wasn't much impact to be had. The only thing I could say is that he was the one that should have been busting a gut to get in the box for when Wilson did cross it. So that was slightly frustrating, but that was kind of typical of the game. So the other substitution, Beth, was Jacob Murphy.
I didn't really think he brought anything to the game. Like, Jacob Murphy's the kind of guy you bring on when you need a bit of energy, like going forwards, because that's what he's good at. He's good at running forwards, getting the ball in. And I don't think I actually seen that once from Jacob Murphy. And thank you. And
you're welcome.
Sorry, my dog's just brought me a beer. What a clever boy.
Oh, someone's got him trained.
But I think like going forwards as well, he didn't look exciting at all. I don't actually think I even seen him running with the ball forwards, like attacking once. He just always seemed to be like jogging alongside someone, or like, for me, he didn't really make a difference to the game. He didn't have an impact on the game. I don't think he did what Eddie Howe thought he was going to do, bringing him on. I actually struggle to even like rate him because I don't actually think I've seen him do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think I've seen him have an impact on the game or an impression on the game. Like he didn't change anything.
That's the issue, though, isn't it? When we've got nothing to bring on the bench. Is Jacob Murphy good enough for the Premier League?
I think he'd be good in the Championship.
Do you think he's good enough for the Premier League?
I don't want to be horrible, but no.
So what
I
you
really
rating?
like Jacob Murphy.
I know you do. But what are you going to give him?
I just think like he would like have his best footballing moments in the Championship, and not in the Premier League, and especially not as a substitution where your team are relying on you coming on and making a difference. He just doesn't have that kind of impact.
That's what you're giving him. He was on long enough for a rating, so you're not going to get away with non-applicable. Was he better than Joe Willock, or was he better than ASM? Just to kind of give you a gauge for a score.
No, he was like a 4. Because for me, he didn't actually do anything. But also, you've got to consider the last 20 minutes of the game is when I was at my peak drunkenness. So he might have done something, and I might have had my eyes closed. Who knows? So if anyone wants to hate me, just consider I might.
Well, no, he didn't do anything. There was no real attacking intent. I can get away with a non-applicable because Chris Wood wasn't on for very long. So we'll skip straight on to Eddie Howe, where we will try and agree on a rating. go on, Harry. We'll start with you. What would you be giving the boss today?
Okay, you want my rating now then? Yeah.
Were you rating them what? Same as everything else?
Yeah. No, okay. So I think 6 is fair because, long story short, we were pretty shocking today. And his first summer signing has bailed us out. That was his signing. He wanted Nick Pope in the door. And I do think we've managed to get away with one there, but we have come away with a point, and I think that is by and large due to Eddie Howe's creating that close-knit group, and I think the attitude of the players and the doggedness and the determination and everything Eddie Howe has instilled into that group has helped really played a key role in helping us come away with a point, as well as Nick Pope. Having said that, we were non-existent in that second half, pretty much. We didn't do anything. There were fits and spurts in the first half, but really, we had nothing going forward for the large majority of the game. So I think happy with the result. I predicted 1-1, so I was always going to be happy with the draw. But the football on display today was not for me. We need to improve going forward, definitely.
So 6 out of 10 from you, Harry. Beth, what do you think? Were you happy with the starting 11?
Yeah, I did. I said before, the watch along. As far as the 11 goes, or Matt Targett's injury, which no one anticipated happening, I think that was as strong as we could have went with what we've got, and with regards to the bench. But I don't know. I just think something needed to be changed in the second half, because it seemed like the team were just happy to sit back and soak in the pressure that Brighton were applying to us. And that was scary it was a scary watch as a fan, to sit there and just think, we don't look like we're trying to even go forward. We're just trying to keep the draw. That's what it looked like we were playing for at certain times in the game. But I think in the first half, it didn't look that bad. And I did think at halftime he was going to make a change in the formation or some sort of substitution, but he didn't. And like I said, I do think we should have brought in Elliot Anderson, but I think he gets a 6. But because obviously as well, before, you've got to consider that performance compared to what it would have been under certain other managers. We wouldn't have sat there and soaked in the pressure. We would have, our heads would have dropped. We'd have ended up being hammered 5-0 or something. But we looked more comfortable sitting back and being attacked than what we would have in previous seasons. So I've got to give him a 6.
Yeah, I've got no massive disagreements for a 6. The point is, we didn't use all of our subs. And today was a stark reminder that we do need reinforcements in the attacking third. And it's getting kind of more and more urgent as my suspicions were realised that Miggy's obviously not going to translate his pre-season form into the Premier League, because we know what Miggy's about now in the Premier League, and he's just not going to quite cut it for where we want to aspire to be. So he's probably fine as a squad player. We need someone better than him to push into that starting 11 on the wing. So we don't have to rely on bringing Jacob Murphy on and whatnot. So that's where our squad depth is really highlighted. A couple of knocks. Fraser's, don't know what's wrong with him. That's the kind of things Eddie Howe can't control too much. The game itself, Brighton are a good team and they start seasons very, very well. I think it's a good point away from home. I really do. 2 clean sheets out of 2, fantastic. Botman, fantastic. There's some real positives in what was a pretty dull game. I wasn't really scared watching it like I might have been in seasons gone by, because I thought, whilst Pope made a couple of brilliant saves, I thought we were pretty defensively sound most of the time. It was just frustrating that we had pretty much nothing going forward. and didn't really look like scoring other than could we get the ball to Callum Wilson in a good position, which we couldn't, apart from when he had a high foot, which was bollocks because it wasn't that high. But, you know, it's a point gained, I think. It was a point gained, so it's positive, I suppose. It's positive. You know, Man City next. You want to see improvement. Can we get another body through the door before then? I don't know. There's Beth. What was the rumours today?
Ramos, an English club have bidded €30 million for him plus 10 million bonus. It's an unnamed English club, but the only club with like a solid interest confirmed so far was Newcastle. So
yeah, that's who I got asked about on Sky on Thursday, and like I know he's Portuguese. Well, so he's Portuguese. It might be Wolves. So
I was going to say
he's Portuguese, so he's probably going to go to Wolves if he doesn't come to us. But you know, but even with the way Eddie Howe kind of introduces new signings to the team, that may well be. You'd expect Target to be back because of dead legs. 3 days? So you'd expect him to be back for Man City. Other than that, it's probably going to be the same starting 11, isn't it, for Man City, and maybe even Wolves the week after that as well. So improvements are needed in the midfield, I think. Would there be any changes you make for the City game? Would you be bringing in a Sean Longstaff maybe for Joe Willock?
Sean Longstaff.
Absolutely.
I think Joe Willock's more attacking, isn't he, than Sean Longstaff, obviously. And Sean Longstaff's more like he'd win the ball back more than Joe Willock, and he's like better at controlling the tempo in the middle than Joe Willock. Joe Willock's better at running with the ball and trying to make something happen. So I think Sean Longstaff's definitely a better shout than Joe Willock.
Harry, would you be tempted to go 5 at the back because it's Man City?
To be honest, we've definitely got
3-0. Sorry. It's 3-0 Brentford Man United. 30.
Man United is rubbish.
That is ridiculous. Is that half an hour, 3-0?
Yeah, they're averaging a goal every 10 minutes against Man United.
They are just rubbish, aren't they? They're awful.
Sorry, I don't even know why I'm this shocked every time.
No, they're just rubbish. Yeah. Harry, 5 at the back against City.
5 at the back. I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised either way. If we start with 4 or 5, I'm going to sit on the fence here. But we've definitely got the centre backs to do it now. You look at Botman, Byrne, Cher, all fantastic centre backs. Could easily be first choice for us. And then Trippier plays right wing back for his country. Target as a wing back. He's not fantastic going forward, but he has openly said he's looking to get better at that. I wouldn't be adverse to that. So I think it's definitely an option. Woodleave is probably a little bit light in midfield, so I wouldn't be surprised if we stick with 4 at the back. But we've definitely got the players to do it now.
We have indeed, but that is for next Sunday. Lee is at the Amex Stadium for us today. He will be bringing you the videos from there. I don't know if he's done a match reaction yet, but he'll definitely have the last word out later. So my thanks to Harry and to Beth and to Andy as well, whose battery died. Don't forget to smash the like button, and if you're interested, hit that join button as well for details of our membership here on NFTV. And to round it off, the 3, download the OneFootball app too. Link is in the description, and thanks to them for the continued sponsorship support. So Lee coming up later with the match reaction and the last word. Stay tuned to Newcastle Fans TV. See you later.